It's been 8 months since the war that Hamas started with Israel has been going on, and I just wanted to shoot a quick video because I don't think there's been enough talk about the hostages, particularly the women that are in captivity. As we go into now the 9th month, I am just feeling disgusted of what could be happening to these women. There's probably a reason why we have seen videos from October 7th, but not recent videos of these women. And I think that we're going to be probably hearing more about the horrors in the next month, or God forbid, month or two. I think one of the biggest problems that we've seen as the war has progressed is that there has been a lack of empathy from the world community, especially when it comes to the suffering of Jewish women and the atrocities that they have experienced. I mean, we have eyewitnesses that have been released from captivity that have explained what they saw. Sheryl Sandberg did a whole movie about it that's free to watch on YouTube. It's called Screams Before Silence. And I did a reaction video after watching that I'm going to link at the end of this video. But I think what we're missing from the world is empathy. If you have empathy for every other minority and every group except for Jewish women, then you're anti-Semitic. It's heartbreaking to see how the world reacts when all people are asking is to believe Jewish women. I can't even imagine the atrocities that they're going right now, being held by Hamas terrorist rapists. To be 20 years old and in captivity right now, to be 20 years old, you know, there are horrible things that are happening. I can't imagine if they are pregnant right now. How will they even deal with that? What if they're not released before they give birth? Then what? What if their babies are stolen from them? All of these thoughts are going through my head that I have to acknowledge now in the 8th month of war as we go into the 9th month of war. And these kidnappees need to be released. They need to come out. I think for Jews around the world, the worst part about this war has been the lack of support for the Jewish minority. So many people have a lot to say, but don't know what happened on October 7th. If you don't acknowledge that and you're not screaming to get the hostages out, then that makes the world a very dangerous place. If you're in America and you have American hostages and America is not going to the ends of the earth to get you out of whatever terror dungeons you're in, or just to be Israeli and to know that a terrorist can take you from your bed and hold you for more than 8 months and kill you or do whatever they want with you, that is terrifying. But it shouldn't just be terrifying for Israelis. It should be terrifying for the entire Western world, because Hamas is an Islamist terror group, and they don't just hate Israelis and Jews, they hate Western culture. They hate Americans. That's why we hear these slogans of death to Israel and death to America. It's not just Israel, which, by the way, is the only democracy in the Middle East. It's also Western civilization that Islamists and Hamas terrorists hate. Anyway, back to the point of this video. It is the 8th month of war, going into the 9th month of war. And we need to recognize all the hostages that are still in captivity. It's heartbreaking that the world has forgotten what it means to be empathetic. When the sister of a victim of Hamas is asking for people to believe Jewish women like they believe all women, you have, I don't even want to say her name, but you have a news anchor that like rolls her eyes and moves on. That just shows the contempt and lack of empathy for what is happening. Let's keep the hostages top of mind. Let's keep talking about this and keep talking about the reason that the war started, and let's work on our empathy. I'm particularly fearful about what is happening to these young 20-year-olds who have been under the clutches of Hamas for the past 8 months, and I am fearful of what information may be coming out in the next month or two about their condition. Now, we have to obviously acknowledge also that there are lots of Palestinian people that are suffering tremendously under Hamas and because of this war. And the sooner that those hostages are returned and Hamas is defeated, the sooner this war can end. It is important to acknowledge that there is suffering everywhere. It's also important to acknowledge how this war started. The people that are suffering need to urge their leaders to make a deal to end this war. Unfortunately, Hamas has chosen not to agree to a deal that would bring us one step closer to the end of this war. A deal was on the table. It wasn't a great deal for Israel, but they agreed to it because the people that are in captivity are so important to them. And again, Hamas did not agree to it because they have no incentive to agree to it. They have nothing to lose, especially when the world is seemingly cheering them on. So we have to keep talking about this. We have to keep talking about the war. We have to keep talking about those in captivity and those everywhere who are suffering. And hopefully world pressure will bring an end to this war. If you call for the ceasefire without calling for the release of those who are kidnapped, that emboldens Hamas. So when we talk about the end to the war, we have to also talk about the people that are still in captivity. Israel, there's no chance in the world that Israel is going to just leave them there. So there is no end to this war without the hostages back. And we can't ignore that. We can't ignore that simple fact. So let's keep talking about it. Let's keep talking about the people that are suffering and keep putting pressure on the world to tell Hamas to release those kidnappees. The more we talk about it, the more it'll be out there in the public. You can talk about it too on your own social media to release those kidnappees and to end this war, which we hope ends soon. I can't believe it's been 8 months. I just can't believe it.